It's usually from the ISKCON Bhagavad Gita. It's really cool. And it gives you a platform exercise.
Hare Krishna.
Mike is not on. Mike's not on.
Oh, Mike?
Do you have a button on the side?
Yes, try the button on the side. That's what usually goes off moving and end up turning it off.
Will they towards you?
Yes, towards me, it's full.
Okay. Oh, it's in the back.
Oh, it's
Can you use it in the back?
There you go. It's probably loud now, probably.
Hare Krishna.
Is that all right?
I believe so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradha Hare Rama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Gaura Bhagata Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatarugya Chakapa Sandhya Vichapatitana Pavanitya Vaishnavya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So then I'll speak about from one of the verses from the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga. This is the last verse of the 6th chapter. Yoginam api sarvesham adgaterantaratmana Shraddhavan vajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Translation of the Venerable Prabhupada. One of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. That's a purport of Prabhupada. It's actually a long purport. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is a need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaja. Worship means to adore and show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus, every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam confirms this as follows. Ya esham purusham shakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram na bhajanti avajananti sthanat brashtaha patantyataha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. This verse, also the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to Supreme Lord only. Whereas the worship of the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is also found in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti Mahamoda. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries to the Bhagavad Gita and without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practice lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti, the bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions towards the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of the karma yoga to the end of the bhakti yoga is a long way of self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When the jnana yoga increases in meditation on the super soul, by different physical process, and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga yoga and comes to the point of Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is called Bhakti yoga, the culmination. Actually, Bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze Bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is progressive is therefore the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to the particular point and does not make further progress is called by the particular name. Karma yogi, Ajnana yogi, Adhyana yogi, so on and so forth. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. It is just as when we speak Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, which is the highest peak, Mount Everest. It's considered to be the culmination. It is by the great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness in the path of Bhakti yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shyam Sundar, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garlanded, illuminating in all sides. His gorgeous luster is called Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms as Rama, Nrishimhadeva, Varaha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is known as Krishna Govinda Vasudeva. He is a perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and he is full of all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. The stage of the highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti yoga as confirmed in Vedic literature. Yasya devya parabhakteta devi tata gurau tasaiti patidahi artaha prakashate mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhakti rasya bhajanam tad iha mutra adi naira esya pushmim manakalpana etad eva naishkarmyam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next life. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully observe the mind of the Supreme. That is the purpose of Naishkarmya, Kopaltapani Upanishad. There are some of the means for performing bhakti. These are the sum of the means of performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Hari Om Tat Sat. Yogināpi sarveshāṁ akhaterantarātmanā shraddhavān bhajate yomāṁ same yuktatamo mataha. So, Hare Krishna. Welcome for the Sunday Feast program. So, we can discuss a few illuminations of this verse from the 6th chapter. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is 18 chapters. So, 6th chapter is actually 1/3 of the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy. So if you have something very important like a letter from a loved one, so usually keep it in the book, in the middle of the book. and in order to preserve it so that it doesn't fall out and you don't miss it. So the same way, Prabhupada says that the most important teachings of the Bhagavad Gita is kept within the middle 6 chapters, which is the most important ones. The first 6 and the next 6 is builds the momentum to talk about this, the middle 6 chapters. So the end of the 6th chapter here, so Lord Krishna concludes very nicely, because he's already spoken about different yoga processes. So this yoga is a very commonly used word. We all hear it in different contexts, and people have different understandings of the word yoga. So common understanding is it is some kind of a mechanical process which helps you to gain better health, or to become much better in enjoying your using your body for sense gratification or for enjoyment. So that is the commonly understood word of yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita, however, the real book of yoga, from where this word yoga has come, so Krishna really gives multiple different yoga systems. And here we're going to see how all of this actually are not different, but they are one and the same. And so the word yoga means, according to the yoga system of the Shankya philosophy, so yujyate iti yoga. So that which connects is called as yoga. So that which connects the Atma with the Paramatma, so that's called as yoga. So Atma is our real self, and Paramatma is the Supreme God. So we have to understand, what we understand from Bhagavad Gita is that we are Atma. So before that, Krishna explains, 2nd chapter, that we are not the body. So he establishes the point that we are not the body, and that we are eternal, Shashvat. We never die, the body always dies, but the soul doesn't die. And he goes on to explain that he is Paramatma. He is the super soul. If we are soul, we have a minute quantity, we are similar to the super soul. We have some qualities of God, but we are not as good as God, or we are not all perfect as God. So God is all perfect. He has all good qualities in infinity. Whereas we just are an image here, as the Bible also explains, human being is made of the image of God. So we are just an amsha. What amsha means, we are a minute particle of just made in the same image as God. So we have some qualities which is very similar, which also unfortunately makes us think that we can become controllers, we can become masters, we can become God ourselves. So that is an unfortunate situation which makes us fall down. So this purport, Prabhupada is giving a very beautiful explanation of that, quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto. So, Eesham Purisham Shakshat Atma Prabhavam Ishwaram Na Bhajanti Avajananti Sthanat Brishtaha Padanti Adaha. So, Sthanat means a position. So, Prabhupada used the words constitutional position. So, constitutional position, your dharma, is our real position where we are eternally situated. But somehow or other, we become brashta, or we lost our vision of what we need to do, and we stop bhajanti, na bhajanti avajananti. Somehow we are bewildered, avajananti, we are bewildered, and then what we do is na bhajanti. So we stop the worship or stop the acting in our constitutional position as a servant of Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the Jivera Swarupavai Krishna Nityadas. The Jivatma, or the spirit soul, is eternally a servant of Krishna. So once we become brashta, or we become bewildered from that path, we become confused, or we lose the vision that we are a spirit soul, and we are meant to serve the Supreme Lord, so immediately what happens is we fall down. Sthanat brashtaha patantyadaha. Patanti means we fall down. That's what happens. So when we fall down, then we are completely lost, and it is said anadi karma. So we take many births. Bhavanam Janmanam. So we take many births, and finally, by the grace of a pure devotee, Krishna's grace, so we somehow or other come to understand that we are not the body, but we are the spirit soul, and we're supposed to connect back to Krishna. So that process of connecting back is called as yoga. So the word yoga, as we described, is not just a mechanical process of some kind of physical exercises, but it is a very divine and very spiritual process of connecting with the Supreme. So how do we connect with the Supreme? So Prabhupada also says that it is like making a phone call, right? So if you want to connect with someone, you want to talk with someone, so these days we have many applications. We have WhatsApp, or we have a text message, we can make a call. But how do we connect with the Supreme? So the age-old process of connecting with the Supreme is there in the Shastras or the Scriptures. The Scriptures are the words of God. Because it is the words of God, it is always perfect. It can never be, there cannot be any kind of imperfection. Right? All the imperfections is coming from our own mental speculations. So, talking about that, so this, all the words of God, the Vedas, is there actually in the ether. It's there in the sound form. So, and it is heard and it is passed on. So that's why it's called Shruti. Shruti means you hear it and then you pass it on. So the great sages, they are able to tune themselves to hear those words and they understand. And how do they understand? They understand the process of Bhakti Yoga. So here it is said in the Upanishad, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaiti kaditahi artaha prakashate mahatmana. So this sound vibration, when it is heard properly from the lips of a pure devotee, so it automatically becomes revealed in the heart by the grace of the Supreme Lord. So it becomes illuminated. Because this is not a manufactured process. Someone gives someone gives a book and then you read those books and then you cram the book, you try to by heart each and every small portion of it. And then you write exams and you pass the exams. That's not the way it is done. So it is done by self-realization. It's a process of self-realization where we, by means of connecting with the Supreme, we automatically get enlightened. So that's called as the yoga process. So let us also see a little bit about the other yoga systems that Krishna described before this, talking about Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna talks about different other yoga systems, starting from the second chapter onwards. So he first talks about the Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is the process of understanding that the Atma or the soul is not same as the body. So we always make this common mistake. Since we are always consider ourselves a product of matter, so we always think ourselves to be a material body. And we act like that at all times. And we think like that at all times. We plan for the future also, thinking that we are a material body. We need these things to sustain. And this is the way to get happiness. It's all from the frame of mind, frame of understanding that we are the material body. So, to understand that the soul is different from the material body is really a beginning of the spiritual life. So that is called as Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means cutting into pieces or making it more refined. So first thing to understand is that we are not the body, but we are the spirit soul. Then comes the connecting the Atma with the Paramatma, the next step. So Krishna says that one can also do through work. Because what happens is everybody has, in this material world, we all have to do some work. By our nature, we are impelled to do some work. So we have to connect with the Supreme through something that we are already doing. So that is, we are doing some work. And that work should be aligned with our nature. That's what is called karma. Karma means not anything and everything that we can do. So even a thief can call what he is doing is a karma. That's not the way it is. So karma is something that is assigned or something that is declared by the scriptures as a bona fide work. So according to one's varna and ashrama, or according to one's position in society, according to one's gunas or the nature, so one has a designated work which is a spiritually superior person can easily point us out. So it is not something that we take it from our likes or dislikes. It is something that is assigned to us based on our gunas, and something we also can make a choice, but we should also take somebody else, a spiritually superior person, in confidence and to understand what is our nature and what kind of work we should be doing. So such kind of work becomes, in one way, it is a self-purifying process. So if we like to do what we like to do, but this kind of a work that is assigned by the scriptural regulations, that also helps us in purifying ourselves. So the work is not just doing something to earn money. The work also comes with a set of rules and regulations which we need to do. So that's why there's not just the work, there is also an ashram. So varna is there, which designates our work, but there is also an ashrama. Ashrama means our position in our progress towards spiritual realization. So we have to be educated as a brahmachari, then we have to take some responsibilities as a grihastha, then we have to slowly mold your life for fully focusing your life in spiritual perfection. So that is called vanaprastha or sannyas. So this duties combines with the ashrama or our social position in society. So that makes us a good and wholesome definition of our work or karma. So as if you are a householder, grihastha ashrama, you have a set of karma that you have towards your duties towards your family, duties towards your community, duties towards your country, and other things. And you also have duty towards yourself, the spirit soul. That's the highest duty. Highest duty is according to Srimad Bhagavatam, the parodharma is yatho bhaktir adokshite, in order to serve the Supreme Lord adokshite. The highest dharma, the highest definition of the karma is that which is pleasing to the Supreme Personality of God. So that is what is called karma yoga. So karma yoga means you do your work in order to please the Supreme Lord. The opposite of that is karma kanda. So the Vedas also describes different process by which you can legally perform different ritualistic activities in order to please the demigods, in order to get benedictions from them, boons from them, so that you can be happy in this life. That's called karma kanda process or karma kandi. A karma kandi is the person who does that, who is doing on that platform of karma kanda. So a ritualistic person. So the difference between a normal person and a karma yogi is that a karma kandi person or a normal person, so he is interested in doing some work in order to get some remuneration or in order to get some wages. Like some of us might be engaged in work. We might be working for someone who is managing us or work. So we work 8 hours a day in order to get some wages at the end of the month. So that is the whole reason or the whole purpose of working, in order to get some money so that we can run our livelihood. So what do we do after getting that money? So we come to our family, we come and then we use that money in order to make others happy. Similar thing is karma yoga. Karma yoga means the other thing, the part of your life. You as a worker and you as a family person. So when you have made you money by working hard, you come home and then you make others happy. You spend that money to buy things necessary for yourself, necessary for the family, in order to make your family very happy. So here, the focus is slightly different. In Karma Yoga process, the only difference is, instead of satisfying just the family, here you try to satisfy the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the one who needs to be satisfied. He is the dearest friend of us. He is the most dearest and closest person in our life. He has Paramatma, as I said, the Super Soul. He is there in our heart. He is coming with us life after life, from one body to another. So, this Karma Yoga process is nothing but doing our work in order to please the Supreme Lord. So we can see how it is different from a normal. So there's a common understanding that Bhagavad Gita talks about Karma Yoga, and Karma Yoga means do your duty as a God. So your work is worship. That is not a correct understanding of Bhagavad Gita or Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga means that work which pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's called Karma Yoga. So, and also the Karma Kandi, he works for some recognition. He wants to do some work and he wants to be promoted or he wants to be recognized for what he has done. But here, in the case of a Karma Yoga, so there is no anticipation of anything in return. So we don't expect anything in return. We just do service to please Krishna, and that's the goal is to please Krishna, nothing else. So that we understand the difference between Karma Kandi and a Karma Yoga. So in the same way, Krishna describes the next Jnana Yoga. So what is Jnana Yoga? That is not something that very commonly done. So a good example of that we can understand by doing a contrast. Just like a Karma Kandi is there, who works for his own self-benefit. There is also a Jnana Kandi. So he follows that part of the Vedas, which helps us in understanding something about the absolute truth. But in doing that process, a Jnana Kandi also tries to do some mental speculation. He tries to read the different things for his own self-pleasure. So he wants to be recognized by someone as a very knowledgeable person, a scholar, or someone who can give a good lecture, and he wants to be recognized as someone very educated. So that is a desire of the Jnana Kandi. So he is doing it, he is following certain things, but he is not fully wants to please the Supreme Lord. So the aspect of pleasing the Supreme Lord is what differentiates and a Jnana Kandi or Karma Kandi from the Karma Yogi or a Jnana Yogi. So the aspect of pleasing the Supreme, it's called as, in other words, called as Bhakti, is what differentiates. So Jnana Kandi, there are many good examples for that is the scientists and philosophers. So they get very fat paychecks, they get a lot of money, they get the funding from the government, and they all are very eager to make some achievement, prove something that whatever the money they spend, they have some output worth it. So for doing that, they fudge numbers, they do this and do that, and somehow they make some papers and they impress the other people of their community. So it's all not done with an intent of understanding the absolute truth. It's all done with the intent of how we can find something so that you can manipulate the matter and you can make some kind of you can manipulate the matter and make something that profits, make some money. Either whoever is giving you the grant, somehow please them and show them that there is some progress that's being made. So that is the only goal. The goal is to achieve some kind of a good fat paycheck and also get some name and fame. So that's where they stop. They don't really go beyond that. So whereas a Jnana Yogi is different. As I mentioned, everything connected is, there has to be something that connects to the Supreme. A Jnana Yogi is not a normal Karma Yogi. A Jnana Yogi is that kind of a person who doesn't really want remuneration or doesn't want his material well-being is definitely of his interest. But more than that, he has a lot of interest to learn about himself as Atma, about the Supreme Lord as Paramatma, and how everything works and what is creation. So understand things in such a way that he can appreciate the Supreme, the Creator, the absolute Supreme Personality of God. So that's the difference between a Jnana Kandi and a Jnana Yogi. A Jnana Kandi he learns something, he mixes something takes from some spiritual things, some material things, he does some things for his own name and sake, name and fame. But a Jnana Yogi is a person whose only goal is to understand the Supreme Lord. And for that he is ready to even forego his own material pleasures. So that is not for normal people. So it's for someone who is really, Krishna even just defines who can become a Jnana Yogi. So he says, Bhavanam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapatkate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. And he says such a person is very, very rare. He's also a Mahatma, he's a great person. He's a very magnificent person. The reason being, for many, many lifetimes, he has been worshipping him. He has been trying to find the absolute truth with a genuine interest, without any kind of a material profit in mind. And he finally surrenders unto him. and he completely gives his whole life to him. That's what is a Jnana Yogi. Jnana Yogi is someone who is completely dedicated his mind, his intelligence in searching the Supreme. Now there are great philosophers, there are great examples in the Vedic world. There are so many great acharyas who have written volumes of books, who have analyzed the scriptures in a minute detail, and they've given a lot of information for us to read and understand. So such people are Jnana Yogis. So the next one is the commonly understood yoga process. So what people think of yoga is some kind of a hatha yoga. So hatha yoga is a process by doing different asanas. So the goal here is to make your body much better for more good sense gratification. These days there are a lot of books written about yoga for this purpose, yoga for that purpose. I don't want to say that sitting on the Vyasasana. But there is yoga for every small thing that you want to do. So that's the gross misuse of the word of yoga. So yoga is not at all meant for that. Yoga means to connect to the Supreme, as we already discussed. So the right exact contrast of that is Ashtanga Yoga. So Krishna explains that. That's the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Explains the Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga process. So how it is done and what is the purpose of it. So we can understand an Ashtanga Yogi does all these things in order to make his body more suited for sense gratification. Whereas an Ashtanga Yogi, Hatha Yogi does that. So Ashtanga Yogi is a yogi whose goal is to meditate because he feels his mind is very disturbed and he wants to focus his mind, focus all his energy on the Supreme Lord. And he wants to get control of the mind. He doesn't want to get control of the body. That's a side effect. So if you control the mind, automatically body also gets a benefit. So that is the understanding. So that's a side effect, but that's what people understand to be the main purpose of doing yoga. Main purpose of doing yoga is to control one's mind. So that is the main purpose. So why we should control one's mind, or how we should control one's mind? The main purpose of controlling the mind is because we want to purify the different things, all the dirt in our mind, clean it off, and then make it a worthy place for the Supreme Lord to come and reside. So a good example of an Ashtanga Yogi is from Srimad Bhagavatam. You can understand Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy, but he was asked by his guru to go and meditate in order to see Supreme Lord Krishna. So in order to achieve his goal, he adopted this Ashtanga Yoga process. So what are the steps he did? So he had to meditate for 6 months. But during the 6 months, you can understand, so first 2 months, he was eating only roots and fruits from the forest. And he was meditating, all the time he was meditating on Supreme Lord. And then the next 2 months, he stopped eating root and fruits and just started taking water and leaves. And in the next month, between the 2 months, he stopped at leaves also. And then the 3rd month, he just took water. And the 4th month, he was just breathing air. And finally, the last month, he stopped breathing air also. So his whole purpose, as you can see, was to somehow gain control over his mind. There were so much disturbances in the beginning. So there were a lot of animals disturbing him. There were so many other people also who were trying to disturb him. But he was completely focused. He did not want to waver even a little bit. So he was so focused, so much that even when the Supreme Lord came in front of him, in order to being very pleased with him for all this different tapasya that he did not even open his eyes because he already was seeing the Supreme Lord in his heart as Paramatma. So in order to get his attention, the Supreme Lord Krishna had to remove himself from his heart. And when he came out he made sure that he is not in his heart, then he had to open his eyes to see him on his right of his in front of him. So that is an Ashtanga Yogi. It means he meditates on the Supreme Person and he controls the mind and he wants to keep him at his heart. And that's his enjoyment. That's his only goal for doing all these things. So Ashtanga Yoga, Krishna says, is not for everyone. Obviously, we can see Karma Yoga, yes, we all can definitely do to a best extent, and we can follow the rules and regulations of Karma Yoga. And Jnana Yoga is also not for everyone, so it requires someone who is fully dedicated to that process, and you cannot mix both of them together. You can mix, everything is always good, but to be considered as a Jnana Yogi, it requires certain higher qualifications. Krishna explains certainly in the 4th chapter. And the 2nd chapter also gives a hint of the Jnana Yogi, how one is completely stable and is completely equipoised, is not disturbed by the different things that the senses are asking him. He is completely stable and equipoised. Such a person is very, very rare. So then finally comes to, Prabhupada very nicely says, he gives this summary here, the culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of Bhakti. Bhakti Yoga. Yoga actually means Bhakti Yoga. So the real yoga actually is a Bhakti Yoga. That's why when you say Karma Yoga, it's actually a karma done with devotion. So Jnana Yoga is nothing but your meditation or your reading of the scriptures is done with devotion or appreciation of the Supreme and with the awe and reverence of the Supreme. And the Ashtanga Yoga process obviously is a meditation of the Supreme. It is meant to please the Lord. It is not meant to please oneself. So as you can see, all the yoga is actually connected with Bhakti. Just the degree is different. The Karma Yoga, Bhakti is there. Bhakti is a driving point. So you do all your actions in order to please the Supreme. And in the Jnana Yoga process, your goal is to understand the Supreme. You want to understand how wonderful He is, what are His great qualities, and how we can become fully situated in Him. And so that's the Jnana Yoga process. Ashtanga Yoga process, obviously, you want Him to come to your heart, and you want to meditate on Him, you want to enjoy Him, look at His beautiful features and keep in your heart. So that gives you a lot of happiness. So that's Ashtanga Yoga process. Finally, Bhakti Yoga is the best of all yoga. All other yogas are also Bhakti in different level, as I already mentioned. So the real Bhakti Yoga is, Rupa Goswami very beautifully explains this. Anya abhilashta sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhakti uttam. So Rupa Goswami says, what is the real bhakti or uttama bhakti, highest bhakti? The highest bhakti or highest devotion is that which is done without any kind of expectation return, with no desires. Anya abhilashita sunyam. No desires in return, no kind of an expectation in return. And it should not have any of these other things, jnana and karma. So, as I said, karma yoga is also devotion, but there might be some kind of an expectation in return. So like you might at times desire for something, I should have this, I should have that, it would be nice to have this. Although you're doing it for pleasure of the Supreme, but still you're not done with your material desires. You still have some material desires. And Jnana Yoga also is sometimes mixed with pratishtha or name and fame. You want to be acknowledged or you want to be given that importance. So that is also there in the Jnana Yoga process. The Ashtanga Yoga process also has its own drawbacks. So it has, as you do Ashtanga Yoga process, you also get a lot of control over your body and also control over the material elements. So you get some siddhis sometimes. So siddhis means you get some power to control the matter. So you can become smaller than the smallest, you can become high, you can become bigger than the biggest. So that kind of a siddhis also comes as a side effect of it. So one should not be distracted by that. So it's very easy to get distracted by that. So there are so many yogis who actually start with this Ashtanga Yoga process. In the process they get some siddhis, they get some powers and they get carried away. They use the powers for their material benefit and they fall down from their position. So that's what happens. So, as you can see, Bhakti Yoga, it starts with an Bhakti Yoga process, rules and regulation of Bhakti Yoga. So you chant, get up early in the morning, you chant your rounds, and then you follow the principles of Bhakti Yoga. Then, so that is the Bhakti Yoga process. Starts with the sadhana bhakti. and then it ends up in the Raganuga Bhakti. So Raganuga Bhakti means bhakti which is absolutely done for pleasing the Supreme Lord. Absolutely nothing in return. So that is the highest as per the Rupa Goswami. That is the absolute platform where one is not even considering what is good for themselves. Like there's a good nice story of it's coming in the Mahabharata. At the end of Mahabharata there is a Krishna Vamsa or Hari Vamsa. So Hari Vamsa is the other part of the Mahabharata. So the story of this how the gopis they show absolutely no concern for themselves, but they want to satisfy the Supreme Lord. So a good example, the story goes like this. The Krishna suddenly one day has a headache, and this headache is so painful that he is completely cannot do anything. He stops doing everything, and this happens with Dwaraka. So he's there in his Dwaraka, and he's there with his queens and in his palace. So he stops everything, and his head is full of, he's completely occupied by his thoughts, how to get rid of his headache. And so meantime Narada comes, great sage Narada, his devotee, he comes there and he asks him, "Oh my Lord, you look so disturbed. So what is the cause for this disturbance? What can I do for you?" So he says, "I have this headache and it is not going for many days. And so what is the cure for this headache?" Narada is asking. The cure for this headache is if you can get the dust from a devotee, one of my devotees. If you can get the dust and you can put on my head, and that will cure me from my headache. So Narada Muni said, "This seems like a simple thing. So let me go and ask from your devotees." So he starts with his queens. He's asking his queens, starting from Rukmani. But they all say, "How can I do this? He's my master. I cannot even think of this. I'll go to hellish planets for doing this. So I won't do this." Then Narada Muni, he goes to the Pandavas. The Pandavas say, "Absolutely not possible. This is nothing that I can even think of from my dreams." So then he goes to the other event, goes to Bhakta Prahlad, and he goes to Hanuman. They all refuse finally. So then finally he goes to the gopis. And the gopis, when they hear, they are eager to hear about Krishna. When Narada Muni comes and then asks about this, "Oh, Krishna is having headaches, what can we do for him?" They say, "If you give your dust from your feet, that is good. That's a good cure for him." So they are very eager. "Okay, that's all right. You want anything, you take. You want the dust, you can take. It doesn't matter. So if Krishna's headache is cured, that's all I need. I don't need anything else." And but then Narada Muni says, "See, what are you talking?" So all these different people have been asking. They all have refused. They all think this is the worst thing that they can think of, and they don't want to go to the hellish planets. But you are ready to do anything. That is, I cannot even think. How can you even think like that? So he reluctantly takes the dust from them, and then he goes and gives to Krishna. Krishna's headache is cured. And then Krishna tells that nobody was, and he explains what happened. Narada Muni, that nobody was ready to give their dust from their feet. Only gopis were ready to give. So then Krishna explains to them how great devotees gopis are. And that's also the conclusion from all the scriptures, that one should have should have no desire. Because this desire is the one that is keeping us in the material world. So only way to go back to the spiritual world is to become rid of these desires, completely rid of any kind of material desires, and have only one desire, to serve the Supreme and become his and become a servant life after life in any condition. So the gopis are ready to even go to hellish planets. A devotee is not bothered to go to even hellish planets and serve the Supreme. So if that gives him an opportunity to serve the Supreme and make him happy, he or she is ready to go to that any extent. So that's the understanding of devotional service or Bhakti Yoga. So we should adopt what we are capable of and what is situating our current situation. So we should understand our frailties, understand our strengths, and we should take appropriate process. That's why we have this Varnashrama system. We should consult a spiritually superior person and find out how we can make spiritual advancement from where we are today. And so that's the best process we can adopt. But we should understand what is the different paths. As Prabhupada also says in this purport, that to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas also. So to understand what is pure devotion, we have to understand what is not pure devotion. So that is a very important thing. So that's why we have to understand this verse. Uttama Bhakti is that which has absolutely no tinge of jnana or karma. And that's the highest Bhakti. So to understand any process, we have to understand what are the other processes and why that's not the best process. So that is why we have to understand all this, the whole Bhagavad Gita. We have to go chapter by chapter, we have to go verse by verse, understand what Krishna is trying to tell us, in order to understand what Bhakti Yoga is, and be able to follow Bhakti Yoga properly. So reading little bit here and there doesn't make us anything. That makes us, it's a half-end logic. So there is an Ardha Kukuti Nyayam, a half-end logic. So there is a story of a farmer who had a hen which used to give golden eggs. So he was very happy to collect the golden eggs and sell it to the market and eventually become a very rich person. So, but what happened is this suddenly got a thought, oh, this hen can give golden eggs, then if I can somehow kill this hen, I can get millions of golden eggs. And then I can sell all of them and I can, forever I can be happy. So I don't have to have this farm, I don't have to do all these different things. So he went with this evil idea and then he killed that hen, ultimately got nothing. So one should not just want to have the hen, just the golden egg, but should also feed the hen, right? So you cannot just have half hen logic. So you need one, you don't want to feed the hen, but you want the golden egg. That doesn't work. So you have to have a complete thing in completion. You have to take it wholesome. You have to read the entire Bhagavad Gita. You have to follow this process of Krishna consciousness as given by the great Acharyas and Srila Prabhupada, and that's when we can make advancement. The best way to make advancement in spiritual life is to follow the words of the pure devotee and serve him. And serve his Vani, serve his words, and follow his instructions. That is the best process to become perfect and become happy, situated happily. Hare Krishna. Any questions, any comments?
You know, Prabhu, the Naga Babas, what kind of yoga are they practicing, would you say?
They might be in the search for any, if they want to get some powers or siddhis, they want to be doing a lot of austerities with that purpose in mind. Obviously, they also want to make a show of their powers.
Pratishtha.
Yeah, Pratishtha.
Have you seen?
I've not seen, but heard of. They come in Kumbh Mela, and then they are naked, they walk naked, and obviously they want to show that they do so much of austerities, they don't care for their body. So there is also a name and fame in that. So in this Kali Yuga, all those things really does not really give us any advancement.
Yeah.
So what gives advancement is the Krishna consciousness. Nothing else gives advancement.
We went to Nrishimhadeva with Guru Maharaj and there were some yogi types there, I guess, but I didn't see anybody as extreme as the Nagabhavas.
Fortunately, I have not seen them. I'm happy not to see them.
There's some out there though, it seems like.
Yes.
So, do you need to choose a particular yoga, or can you follow a particular yoga without even the knowledge of it, that you're following it?
That's a good question. So do you choose a particular yoga? As I mentioned, yes, if you want to learn a specific yoga, you should go and learn from a proper spiritual teacher. So that's what is Krishna saying in the Bhagavad Gita also. He says that you have to approach a person who has perfected their path, then you have to learn from him submissively, you have to render service unto him, and then he will, by following his footsteps, you can get perfection. So the key thing is to progress in yoga is to find a good teacher of yoga. So as I mentioned, Karma Yoga is the most practical one. And Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga requires you to give up a lot of different things. You have to give up your bodily comfort. You have to follow a strict set of rules and regulations. And it's very difficult for people of this age. So this Karma Yoga is very easy to do. So you can slowly and steadily you can make advancement.
And is it a step-by-step path, or it's just you could go, maybe if you decided you could go to Ashtanga?
Ashtanga Yoga process, yes.
Or you could be at 0 to Ashtanga, or it goes by steps, or it's not particularly.
The recommendation is that you follow both step by step. First do Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga. And then Karma Yoga, you don't have to go to Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. You can directly go to Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is the best. Karma Yoga is also part of Bhakti Yoga. So if you want to do Ashtanga Yoga, yes, you can do. But as I said, you have to go to a proper teacher. You have to do under his observation. There are different steps and different rules and regulations. Like in Ashtanga means there are 8 different parts. So there is 8 rules and regulations. Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, then Samadhi, then there are 8 different processes. So you have to follow this in each and every process very carefully. As I gave an example of Dhruva Maharaj, so he followed it very carefully. That's when he can make advancement. It's very troublesome. It's not very easy. And you want to add on to this point?
Could I?
Yeah, please.
Bhakti Yoga is not dependent on the other yogas. Bhakti Yoga is what we practice here. It's independent of all the other yogas. You can start it not knowing anything. If somebody just says, help clean the temple or something, you sweep the temple, you've done Bhakti Yoga already. There are rules and regulations for beginners. It's all there. But it's good to know about the other ones because you may psychologically, you may psychologically go through some stages like that where you want to do your duty and do it for learning how to do it for God, and then you want to learn what knowledge is, and then you want to think about it, meditate on it. But Bhakti Yoga, you can start right off with that, and that's what we do in the whole Krishna movement. And we give you beginning steps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ashtanga Yoga also is very helpful. So if someone is into a lot of different things like intoxication and they've got a very bad patch of life, they want to completely get rid of it. And people also go to the kind of a Ashtanga Yoga process. But as I said, you have to learn from a guru, and you have to follow very strictly the process. And then you'll make a lot of advancement. Ashtanga Yoga is very helpful also. But you have to follow from the guidelines of spiritual master. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for picking that verse. It's interesting that Srila Prabhupada said yoga, as far as devotees are concerned, yoga means bhakti yoga. And so it's that service yoga. And thank you for teaching that.
All the others, it includes.
It covers all, it includes all those. Yeah, bhakti yoga.
Now, these different types of yoga, does it have, is there like you're not talking about the yoga like the moving of the body. This is like, or it's like the same Bhakti Yoga have X yoga that they do. When I mean yoga, meaning movement of the body. Or that's just a completely unrelated word. You know what I mean?
It is related, as I said. So but that's a commonly understood meaning of yoga. But that's not the complete understanding. The real understanding is yoga means how do we re-establish a relationship with God. That's what really yoga means. Unfortunately, it has been wrongly understood or explained as some physical exercise or limited to just a physical exercise. But that's not what it is all about. It's all about how do we connect back to the Supreme Lord, Supreme God, the Lord. And the process is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So physical asanas, that's helpful in controlling the bodily acts. So we have different bodily, we are composed of different bodily acts, like prana, pyana, apana, samana, dhamana. There are different bodily acts in which our atma is floating, the soul is floating. So by doing different asana systems, what happens is you are controlling the movement. And that helps you to focus your mind. Because the mind is also impacted by the different things going around the senses. And the senses are constantly disturbed. So in order to shut off your senses, these asanas are done. And that helps you to keep the mind focused. And where do you focus your mind? You don't focus on nothing. Or you don't focus on something else. What will I do in the next moment? Or whom will I meet in the next moment? What will I do this night? You don't focus on those things when you do an asana process. You focus on the Supreme Lord. There's a whole description in 6th canto of 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that what you should meditate upon. You should meditate upon Paramatma. So how is his form? So what kind of form you should meditate upon? He has a four-handed form, and he has a club in his hand, he has a chakra in his hand. So there's a form that you have to meditate upon. That's a part of the process. But unfortunately, all those things are not explained.
And that's Krishna.
Yes, that's Krishna.
Right. You meditate on Krishna.
Yes. And all of this, as Mataji mentioned, is all part of Bhakti Yoga. So the Bhakti Yoga also we meditate in the morning, and we spend 2 hours of time meditation. And you can do some asanas also if you want to. But we do meditation, called mantra meditation, in which we try to focus our mind on Krishna and by means of chanting the mantra.
Well, I think they might be
On
serving
the holy name.
Sorry?
He might be serving the feast now. He hasn't had prasadam yet.
Yes.
So we should.
Part of the Bhakti Yoga is also tasting food offered to Krishna.
So we'll go do some more yoga.
Yes.
That sounds perfect. Okay, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Everything is yoga. I guess.
Yeah, thanks for your question. I think so it's the first time you're coming here?
Third, I think it's your third or fourth, right?
Fourth time.
Well, third. This is my first Sunday.
Sunday feast, yeah.
Sunday feast.
I was trying to read through the Bhagavad Gita, but it was a little bit, I guess, confusing because I think they just say one sentence and then they have like a long thing describing it. So I'm a little bit unsure how to.
Depends on which Bhagavad Gita.
That's the
you're reading also.
purport. As it is.
Oh, as it is.
Yeah, that's the Bhagavad Gita you read. Yeah, he got it here.
Okay.
Yeah. But do you read the phrase, or do you read everything?
You read everything, but you can go and read just the translations.
The English.
But the explanation is needed because if you read it by yourself, you won't understand. The explanation is by the spiritual master, so you have.
And this.
It's a way of hearing from the spiritual master.
And the Sanskrit resonates on our soul level.
Yeah, if you can learn to
So,
read
but
the
we
Sanskrit
can help you learn how to pronounce it
Yeah.
Okay.
because that resonates on the soul level, even if you don't know what it's saying. But then it gives the English, which you learn English.
Yeah.
I think that we should get,
A little bit.
Me too.
you should be allowed to go to the.
Yeah, let's get into the
Yes.
Prasada.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.